Welcome to the Filmsteins, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling and cinematography and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Filmsteins. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level, where the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. This is the Filmsteins, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another great episode of the Filmsteins, the fastest growing podcast in the world.
Galaxy.
See why I say that, and how did I not say that? I don't think it in
other
any
two?
of these movies. Yep. You can join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for super special episodes of the Filmsteins. They're actually just our regular episodes, but we put a lot of content out there for you guys because we like talking about movies. And we want someone to listen if they want to listen, you know, want a mutual kind of thing going on here. And we have been covering recently the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. We just finished 1 and 2, and now we're on to 3. These were requested by a special member of the audience. And we're finally wrapping that up. They're our executive producer of these last 3 episodes. But I was also at the same time very excited to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Volume 3, directed by Tim Gunn. I don't know who Tim Gunn is. I keep bringing it out.
Oh my
Directed by
gosh.
James Gunn, who has recently moved on to bigger and greater things at Time Warner, or Warner Brothers, excuse me, with DC. But his final hurrah, the 2023 Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, came out earlier this year. Made lots of money. We'll talk about that later, of course. It's a very celebratory movie, isn't it?
Yes.
This movie felt
it is.
like it was
The last
end.
hurrah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it really did.
Yep.
It was cool. I liked that a lot. I liked feeling that. It's kind of interesting going through these movies like this. I'm not a marathon person. I don't watch things back to back to back like this. The only time I've ever done this to this degree, which is this 3 movies is not even that crazy, right? But is when we covered when we watched all the Pixar films in close kind of schedule.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I've ever done something like that. Well, I guess Harry Potter. Excuse me. I've done that actually several times because for some reason I'm surrounded by Harry Potter fans. Not Star Wars fans, not Lord of the Rings fans, but Harry Potter fans throughout my life.
You're surrounded by the right kind of fans. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe we're of that generation, you know? The
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings generation, there's the Star Wars generation, and there was the Harry Potter generation. I feel like there's a generation missing in between Star Wars and Harry Potter, but I don't give a fuck about them. Harry Potter's special. Much better made than Star Wars.
Yep.
Hot take?
No.
No.
Normal take.
Normal take. Yeah, well, I am joined today by my animal rights friend.
I was thinking animal lover friend.
Dang.
So
Nice.
we're on the same page
Nice.
there.
And my animal rights friend, Lucy. Of course, she loved Okja. I loved Okja. Not that movie's specifically about animal rights or anything, but there is kind of a hint of neglect with the animals there. And like I said, we are covering today the 2023 James Gunn special movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I've been going back and forth with this film for the last couple days after watching it, and I think I'm here to say on the record that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the best Marvel movie.
Whoa.
I think it's the best Marvel movie made to date.
Wow.
It's kind of a nice progression. Guardians 1 to 3. It's actually gives me hope for Marvel in a weird way, but I know that James Gunn is a large mind behind this, and he's leaving because I'm an adult and I can read. Or he has left, I should say. And he's on to ambitious problems, yes, but ambitious projects. This movie's... Well, what did you think about Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
So we're going to try to make this episode either me not cry or...
No, we're going to get you to cry.
Let's see how many times we cry. You know, we'll see. But
take a shot every time you hear Lucy choke.
Like a choke in my throat. Or maybe a little sniffle. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just say hot wings, so maybe not.
Definitely my favorite out of the 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Hands down?
Hands down. Well...
Guardians 2, man, it's got some good... There's a lot of...
Yeah, it's not hands down. It's definitely my favorite out of the 3, but it's a close favorite for different reasons.
This movie takes everything I really didn't like about Guardians 2 and other Marvel films, and I think unless I just was in the right mood, it just hit me at the right time or something, this movie is the ceiling for a Marvel movie, I think.
Yeah. I think I can agree with you on that. And I don't know, maybe I'd have to watch Iron Man again, the first one, to see if it's my favorite Marvel movie. But it's definitely up there on the top 3. You know, I don't know what the third one would be. Probably an Avengers movie.
Oh, not Spider-Man.
I'm honest. No. I think Spider-Man's good. But I think it's just lacking something there that especially these movies have that Spider-Man just doesn't and it never will.
Yeah, with the exception of the third one, I guess, is that the most recent one to come out? It definitely lacks any kind of emotional thing, and they kind of force the inevitable and obvious onto us like they do in every Spider-Man where his aunt dies. I don't know her name. I can't remember, but the movie's kind of manipulative actually with bringing in other Spider-Mans and...
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It's awesome, but it's kind of like... And they did it, I think, as well as they possibly could have. I'm going to have to revisit the Spider-Man movies because I have a feeling that they're not that great. Not that I'm saying they were at any point in my life, but that third one kind of hit with me. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that thing you feel every once in a while when something feels really like it's awesome the first time you see it, and the next time you see it, you're like, oh shit, it's really not that good. You kind of come to that realization.
Yeah. I
feel like I will come to that point with Spider-Man, but if I ever rewatch it, I don't know if I'm going to.
Yeah.
But kind of like Transformers. When I first saw Transformers, the Michael Bay one, I liked it, and after rewatching it a few times over the last 15 years, it's probably one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, I think, I like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think he might be my favorite Spider-Man, but those are some of the weaker movies, I think.
I really like the first movie. I think it's the first movie, right? When Gwen dies? Is that the first movie? No. Is that the last one? Yeah.
There's only 2. They didn't make a third one of those.
They didn't make a third one?
No, the rumor has it that he had a weird, just, I'm not sure if it was like an outburst or just some kind of thing of disrespect that really turned off some of the Sony guys.
Oh.
Sony execs, Sony producers, and I'm not sure what that was all about. I don't know if that was just rumors or just nonsense trying to take down Andrew Garfield, because he does kind of have a lynch mob after him every once in a while because he's weird, you know, and so I don't know what that's about. But yeah, they didn't make the third one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about those, but definitely not on the same level as these movies. And I don't think on the same the Spider-Man movies are not on the same level as the first Iron Man either. But I don't know. I'd have to think about it. But Guardians 3 did not have to go this hard. It did not have to go this fucking deep into my soul. It didn't need to play with my emotions the whole movie. It just did not need to be this fucking good. And what was it, about 3.5 hours? 2.5 hours?
Yes.
About
2.5 hours.
I liked how long it was. I didn't feel the 2.5 hour dread. If this movie was 3 hours and those, extra 30 minutes were as good as the rest of the movie, I think I would have loved it.
Yeah, super well-paced movie. I think the Guardians are all pretty well-paced, actually. It's kind of, I don't think we've even brought that up. I don't think that bothered me one bit. I don't feel like, other than the museum part in the second one, but that was dragging on for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because it was over pretty quick, but it was just way over the top with,
the over-explaining.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of, I don't even know, uncanny. I don't know how to describe that. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah.
But this film was extraordinarily well paced. We didn't have any over explaining nonsense.
Which they definitely could have with Gamora. If you didn't, it's been a while since Endgame, and was it Infinity War?
Yeah.
So if you didn't watch those, or if it's it's been a while and you forgot, maybe you're not a hardcore Marvel fan, but you still kind of like them, or you love the Guardians and you didn't watch the other ones, you don't exactly know what happened to Gamora. And like us, we kind of forgot. And, that's a place where he could have put a flashback or an over explanation. But no, we had like one or two sentences with Nebula telling us, someone said, oh, Gamora's dead. And like, no, Gamora's not dead. She just, she's not the same Gamora. She lost her memory or whatever she said. And that was it. And I really like that. I like that he either expects us to have seen the movies or to go fucking look it up,
Yeah, he doesn't let it stall the movie in any other way.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I also like that I like that because we no longer had the focus at all really on Peter and Gamora. We kind of took that away and were able to focus on just a much more interesting, story to tell, really. I don't think there's nothing really interesting about Peter other than his dad, I guess, unless they try to throw something else in there. And I guess his adventures, but his adventures require everyone else, so it's just kind of a given because he's part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
But Peter himself is not interesting, so we don't need the Gamora thing anymore. We had that. They tried it. It didn't work out. We lost our original Gamora, and now we have Hood Gamora. I prefer Hood Gamora any day of the week.
Oh my god.
Over normal Gamora. She's awesome.
I mean, yeah, I like that too.
I definitely thought by the end of the movie we were gonna get some kind of Peter and Gamora thing. They're like gonna reconnect or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad they didn't. The restraint there is awesome. They tease us a little bit. She's there a little too long, lingering too long. She's looking a little too happy, too into this whole emotional thing that's going on. And at the very end, she walks away. And in other situations, she just kind of backs out. She stays out of it, and I appreciate the restraint a lot. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that. I'm a sap, so of course I want everyone's happy ending. I want Peter to have his girl. She finally, in the second movie, she finally said there is something here. She finally admitted it, and then she's gone. She sacrificed herself. So I kind of wanted that happy ending mainly for Peter. Like, goddamn, give him something, please.
But it would kind of walk back on the sacrifice,
But then it wouldn't make sense to the whole story, to this movie, to her personality, to the fact that she's not the same Gamora. So I get it. But man, that's just, you already made a sad movie. You just, throw one more sad thing in there. It doesn't fucking matter to me. I'm already crying. So, all right. But yeah, I think a lot of people probably like that he didn't give us the...
Yeah, I wonder if they do like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people do. Because you're right. It makes sense. She's not the same person. So it would make sense.
Yeah, I just appreciate the restraint there. I could see Kevin Feige being like, yeah, they need to hook back up. They need to join forces, and so we can have a future of the Guardians of the Galaxies. But we will see here in a little bit that the future of the Guardians of the Galaxy is probably not gonna have another feature film about.
Yeah, from this movie, the Guardians, these Guardians at least, they're over.
Which is awesome. That's some big dick energy right there. James Gunn pulling that.
Man,
Ripping these guys apart.
he ripped me apart. This was like, yeah, the biggest FU movie I've ever seen.
Good luck putting this back together.
Yes. Yes, and I love it. I love it, you know?
I was wondering what was going to happen because I'm glad no one dies. You could very easily see this ending in a multi-person death to just make sure there's no Guardians ever going to happen again. At least not in the same group, you know? And the restraint there is awesome. I could have seen 4 of these guys, 2 of 4 of these guys dead easy peasy by the end of this.
Dude, the beginning when the gold dude Adam comes in and starts beating everyone up because he's here to kidnap Rocket. I thought half of them were dead already, and I mean with the beginning, you know, the intro scene with how fucking sad it was, I was already crying. And then you have this dude coming in, beating everyone up. Everyone looks all mangled. 3 people look like they're at least dead. I seriously thought someone had already died in the beginning, and this is where we were headed. Which, you know, we kind of had that with Rocket.
From the get-go, things felt incredibly more lethal than any other Marvel movie out
All
there.
Marvel movies put together.
And it's funny because, you know, one of the Avengers, Endgame or the Infinity War one, half the people die, you know, but it doesn't, even after that, the world does not feel lethal in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
And especially because they completely chicken out on that and everybody comes back, you know, everybody's here, which is easily the worst part of, you know, that whole duo of movies. I think it's so stupid.
No, come on.
It's so stupid.
It's good.
There's some good things about it, but I don't think that's one of them.
They need to come back. If we're already hopeless humans experiencing too much loss, so I'm glad they brought him back. You know, we're different minds here, because
yeah, it feels so.
I would have felt an existential crisis every other day if they would have done that to me.
It just feels so like, oh, you're dead, just take this thing and you'll be back, you know? Just it's so cheap. It's
fine.
They're cowards, man. They're fucking cowards.
They didn't want to make this kind of movie.
No, they didn't.
Because
they couldn't. I mean, if you make this kind of movie, you can't make that many of them.
Yeah.
So it's gonna hurt the overall thing. And so I mean, I get that, and I get, you know, the whole MCU thing is very cool. Like the whole, you know, 50 movies that are all connected in some way or another. It's very cool and probably never going to be done again. Especially because we're seeing, you know, such a little money made back on most of these things in the last like 2 or 3 years. So it's like, I can't, you know, I mean, that's awesome. No one can take that away, but it just takes away the potential drama, you know? The lethality in these worlds is just so, it's kind of like a Pokemon, man. We need some lethality to like bring out the true character of these characters, you know, and bring out the urgency and emergency of the world. But this movie surprises me in so many ways, and that is the first one that happens right out of the fucking gate. You're like, I thought this was Rocket's movie, but he's dead already. You know, he's dead for most of the movie basically, and you're just like, what the fuck? And especially if you know this is James Gunn's last movie. Yep. It's just like, is Rocket gonna die? Is James gonna kill his favorite character? I could see it.
Yeah,
I can see it.
The whole movie, you don't know if he's living or dying.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It really is awesome.
Yes.
They set that up in a way I just can't believe they did it. I'm impressed. I think this is the first time, probably since Iron Man 1, that I've been impressed by a super high budget, you know, CG, you know, focused movie. It's just, this completely changes my mind about, I know James Gunn is the heart and soul of this, but this completely changes my mind about the potential of what Disney can invest in too, though. Mm-hmm. You know? Not that I have hope in Little Mermaid or whatever and everything, but, you know, like, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'm glad. I can't believe it. I can't believe I spent 2 days. I still can't believe this movie. I need to watch it again. I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I'd definitely watch all 3 movies again.
Yeah, but when that gold guy shows up, at first, I'm like, oh no.
Gold people.
Well, yeah, I guess fuck, gold people are back. But he's the coolest gold guy of the bunch.
True.
And I'm like, fuck, it's the eyebrow guy. I'm just like, God, he sucks.
I know.
But then I'm like, wait a minute. He's kind of got this Drax energy. He's kind of stupid. He's like really like high and mighty on a high horse type thing, and feels like royalty. He's kind of fake royalty, you know. And it's like, it's a fun character, you know. And he's kind of awkward in a different way than Drax and and than all of them. They're all fucking awkward in some way. And you know, like at the very end where he's like he's thinking about hugging, but he's not. He's like almost like, am I even allowed to hug? Because I tried to kill these people,
but I saved him.
Yeah,
so,
it's like that was so good, man. I can't fucking believe this. And they kept his mom as far away as possible from anything else, which is awesome.
Yep.
She played the perfect role for what she is. You know, she was too much in the second one, and the restraint, you know, I don't know if it's quite restraint because they already kind of showed her off in the first one, or the second one, I should say. And then so now they're showing off her son. So like, you know, you kind of negotiate like, who do we show off? You're never gonna show off their son, right? Because
he knows who he's got here.
Yeah, but she's kind of stayed in the background stuff, and I appreciate that because she could have been a little bit more of a. She could have had a little bit more dialogue, maybe not been a force to reckon with, but a little bit too much dialogue would have sucked.
Yeah,
because she's just not a dialogue character, and neither is he, and they know it, which is it's awesome because it's so cool. But yeah, he fucking almost kills everybody.
I know,
and it's awesome. It's so fucking cool.
He
just wrecks these guys, and you're like, holy fuck, because this whole time we've been kind of battling with or what we've talked about is the Guardians are not really proper superheroes. They're really not superheroes at all. They're just kind of, on some normal level, capable of normal crimes, right?
Yeah.
Space crimes or whatever. They can't handle things like Thor and Hulk or whatever, right? Which makes them much more interesting, I think, than those guys. And then all of a sudden they're fucking attacked by this gold guy who's, you know, an Iron Man gold guy.
Strong,
he's hella strong. He's hella fast. He can fly, proper fly. You know, he can go through space, and you're just like, holy fuck, they're facing an actual villain, like, or they're, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, like, first off, they're caught off guard.
And
second, they're not superheroes. They don't deal with this shit. They deal with, big monsters, kind of. Or Thanos type characters that you have to outsmart. Because really, without the Infinity Stone, the first villain wasn't anything, and Thanos isn't anything. But this guy doesn't need any stones.
Is Thanos nothing without the Infinity Stones?
I don't know. I don't really know anything about Thanos besides...
Okay. Because he did wipe out Drax's whole planet without the Infinity Stones, right?
Didn't he already have some?
Oh, does he already
He didn't
have
own all of
some?
them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
He might already have some. Yeah, I don't know.
Because you're pretty strong with just one.
I only really know of two, I think, right? Doesn't the blue one that's Earth has, that Loki's going after?
Yeah, with the Tesseract or whatever.
And then doesn't Doctor Strange have one?
Yes, the time one.
The time one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought so.
So I'm not
sure on that. I really like that this movie we got a background on Rocket. And it's so sad that this is James Gunn's last movie because I feel like he could have done this with each of our characters. You have your first movie, it's an origin movie. Your second movie, it's about, Peter. Your third movie is about Rocket. A Drax movie would have been awesome. A Groot movie, awesome. And you could have put Rocket and Groot together, but no. So I mean, it's so sad
I thought Groot might have come from the same place.
Yeah,
and he didn't.
And he didn't. So, I mean, he could have had something here and given us this with each of our fucking characters and then been done, but no. But I'm glad he went hard with Rocket. And anything with Rocket in this movie pretty much made me cry.
And he's dead the whole time.
And he's dead the whole time.
Basically. He's on life support, okay. Man, whatever.
Same thing. He's got a kill switch. That's basically dead.
Yeah, you're like, when they're trying to work on him right after the gold guy attacks, Nebula's like, don't fuck with him. He's got, a kill switch. If he, his body knows that if you try to get inside him, that it'll just self-destruct basically. And
you're like, what?
You're just, it's kind of like that moment when Peter learns that his dad put the brain tumor in his mom.
Yeah.
And it has like that zoom in. It's like, what the fuck?
Yo.
What are you gonna do? Get to work. And so that's the premise of the movie right there. You start off, we're attacked by that gold guy, and we gotta get the proprietary keys to unlock Rocket to fucking save his life.
Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, from the start, I think the very first shot is of Rocket's sad eyes. I don't remember if it was when he's an adult or a baby, but it's one of those. And then I think it goes a little bit back and forth.
Yeah, I think it was when he's a baby. That's how it starts off.
Okay.
And then it zooms in and then zooms out, and it's adult Rocket.
Yes, and those eyes.
Did you cry?
Are so sad. Yes, I cried. And then you're realizing what's happening here. You're like, oh shit. Okay, we get Rocket's backstory here. We're getting how he got experimented on, because we know he's got issues. We know he got experimented on. We don't know anything much besides that, he had a rough time. And you're like, oh my God, we're getting this. Okay, cool. And then you see a fucking baby and a hand going in the cage and a baby backing up, and it's so sad. And then Radiohead's song Creep starts playing. And then Rocket's, singing it all fucking sad. And not only is it the song, but it's the acoustic version. So it's even sadder. And you don't know where this movie's about to head to, but you're already sad. You're already sad. And, if you're...
Sets the mood.
You were an emo kid or an alternate kid or whatever the fuck you were, you know that song. And you've... I don't want to say you've been in that situation, because I'm sure you weren't a baby and got experimented on, but you've played that song when you've been in a mood. So it fucking set the mood so perfectly. And I love it. And then Rocket gets hurt. Well, I think at one point before he gets hurt, he took off his shirt. And I know we'd seen it before in one of the previous movies, but I feel like this time it's either clearer in the shot or more eye-opening or what, but you see the shit on his back where, he got experimented on. I don't exactly know what it is. His kill switch is there somewhere and all these things there, but I guess you feel it more here, and it's just so sad.
Throughout this movie, they never let you have a break either. Just when we've been far enough away from Rocket for a long enough time, we have a flashback with Rocket when he was little, or when he was been experimented on.
Well, you have a flashback of Rocket, and then the first word you hear baby Rocket say is hurt. And then, oh my God, it's so sad. Oh my God.
And he meets his Sid creations from Toy Story.
Sid.
That's what I was thinking of when I would see them. I was like, God damn. This is what Sid would do.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And they were all demented and fucked up looking, and they were so nice.
And they were all friends.
And they were best friends. They loved each other.
And there was a scene, I guess it's when he sees a rocket for the first time, and I guess that's a little bit of his namesake. He sees the sky and everything. He's with the high evolutionary guy. And it's so subtle, but there's a point where the high evolutionary just gets up. he just gets up from his seat and Rocket flinches. Like, it's so fast and so small and nothing happened. I mean, he didn't yell at him, he didn't raise his hand at him. Rocket just flinched. And oh my god. My heart just fucking tore in half. It's so sad. It's so sad. I couldn't fucking take how sad. And that's not even the saddest part. That's just
one of many. There's probably 15 just
yes,
heart fucking wrenching things in this movie.
And I guess that one was just
and 10 of them are about Rocket.
Yes. That one was just crazy because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to add that fucking small ass detail of this creature that's been abused. But goddamn, he just fucking added that in there like it was nothing. And I mean, don't get me started on Rocket's scream when what's her name, Lila, when she gets shot and he lets out this like really loud, just haunting scream. And then she got shot, and then he's screaming, and then this motherfucker, this bobo ass high evolutionary villain, starts mocking him. And I don't know if he's the worst villain to have ever been created. I'd have to definitely think on that. But at that moment, he definitely was.
It helps elevate the sinisterness in this guy to crazy heights because he's not. He starts to operate this space in this really interesting way where he creates species. He accelerates their evolution. He wants to create perfect versions of different species, and they all happen to be kind of anthropomorphized, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But it's fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
And he's got so much personality. He's so interesting. And then the evolution of how he looks is super cool. We only see really 3 instances of it, I guess. And that, he's kind of normal. Now he's a little bit more machine, and then he gets his face torn off, right?
Oh, yes.
And it's so cool. And, when he mocks
oh my god,
Rocket in that instance, it puts him on such a like Joker style level.
Yes.
Of just like this dude's just on he's operating on his own level. And there's nothing else like this in the MCU. Nothing. I thought Thanos was like pretty cool, and Ego is pretty cool too because they have these like interesting kind of big plans and stuff and everything. And Thanos probably has the more interesting of the two, just in that he's concerned about the universe's health and stuff. And I don't think you get enough of it. I could be wrong. I know you get 2 movies of him basically, but I'm not sure if there's enough there. There definitely could probably be more. But man, because we not only hear him talk about his plan and what he wants, right, in the world and how he feels about the world, but we live through so much of it. We see where his main headquarters are at. We see multiples of his creations. We've been living with one for 3 movies. And I guess that's kind of one of the cool things about the Gold People is they're one of them.
That's right. Yep.
We didn't know that in the second movie, and it kind of gives some perspective to how like big-minded this person is, the high evolutionary, and just how much power someone can have over parts of the galaxy. It's just. It puts this guy on a really interesting level, and this guy's not even in much. I don't know his name, but I looked him up. He looked familiar, but he's not in much. He's
good.
He's good.
He's good.
I saw that they listed him first in the credits at the end there.
Oh.
So I wonder what's up with that. I wonder if they're trying to elevate him to kind of bigger stardom.
I hope so.
It's very cool because Chris Pratt's not the biggest thing, but he's a S-list actor. We've talked about this, Bradley Cooper plays Rocket.
Mhm.
He's an S-class actor, and Vin Diesel's maybe more A-list, and then Gamora, of course, is S-class too. She works with MCU and Avatar. You can't really outdo those. But the High Evolutionary is dope.
Yes.
Dope character.
And he's messing with the two most vulnerable things to us: animals and children.
And on top of that, he's weirdly interested in Earth. So there's more layers to that.
Yes.
And personally, he's kind of making things into furries, which is a little unsettling to me. You know what I mean? So there's like this. It's working on multiple levels here.
I mean, he's got one of the kids running on a little hamster wheel, and he's just watching. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? It's like, oh my god, like,
And I guess it just came to my mind, but like it's working also on like science gone bad kind of level too. Like this is taking things too far.
Yeah.
You know, which speaks to both of us, I think. And it's so fucking like when I thought it was really cool CG actually, where when he first put the turtle in there, and it was morphine, and just the expression of pain coming from the metamorphism, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I'm impressed they managed to get such a agonizing looking turtle metamorphized into a anthropomorphized turtle, and it's sick in every meaning of the word. It's awesome. It's so cool. And then we see it. They do it again later with several animals, and we see it work, like the metamorphosis, the accelerated kind of evolution, right? Because of what Rocket said and everything. And then even then, they only focus on it that one time, and then all the other ones happen kind of in the background as the High Evolutionary and Rocket watch, or I mean, I guess as the High Evolutionary yells at Rocket, even when he's excited about what's happening and kind of grateful, he's charged in a really scary way.
Yeah.
You know, like you're afraid, is Rocket about to get hit?
Yep.
You know, or something worse. It's cool. I can't tell you how impressed and surprised I am by this movie in its entirety, but by this villain. I didn't know a villain could be like this, you know, in the MCU.
Yeah, there's very few villains that can be like this, you know, in a superhero movie, I guess. But this dude was good. This dude was not only good as the villain they created him to be, but an actor. I mean, there were some scenes where, I mean, it's like spit is coming out of his mouth from how emotional and charged he is. That's fucking awesome.
It brought a realism to it that I wasn't expecting either. Because you know, these movies are just taken over by CG. You know, we lose some of the naturalism, right, and the realism, and they step that back. This movie, there were some really great CG here, but there were some scenes that were, I think, definitely had a lot of practical effects. I don't know if you know more about that, but that I've never noticed spit in a Marvel movie or a movie like on this level, you know, of production. It's so
Me either.
It's so fucking cool.
Yes. How did you feel about Counter Earth? How'd you feel about that whole place? Maybe not the whole plot movement there, but the place itself.
I thought it was really cool because it just kind of builds up the High Evolutionary without him even being there. He's there a little bit, you know, he's in the big ship and everything, but the fact that we're here on Counter Earth, a place where that he created, and it's like a rip off Earth. It's Counter Earth where he's God, right? These things are looking up to him like he's God. A lot of things do. He said it himself, which is just so interesting and eerie. You know, you could have seen something like that come out of Ego's mouth, but he was, in a cool way in its own right, he was too into himself, hence Ego. But here it's just so there's so much familiarity and just unsettling things kind of already set up that the Counter Earth just adds into this like obsession and weird obsession with his science, and but weird fascination with humans. And it's just, which I guess he has some, I mean, is he human? I feel like, I mean, it's not really clear, but he does come off as at one point human. So I would assume he's from, I don't really know. It's hard to really say.
I don't know, because he said he had like the luxury of visiting Earth, and
yeah, that's true.
He listened to the music and the arts and whatever's.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's human.
He's not human. He's not Earth human.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
I think there's 3 things that...
There's so many great scenes there, too.
I forgot what the fucking third one was. I think there's a few things here in Counter Earth that, we need to bring up. The first scene is when fucking Drax pelts the shit out of that little girl with the ball.
That was awesome.
That was hilarious. That was so funny. And I think I saw people talking about how that was like overdone in the trailers, so they didn't, care too much for it or whatever. But I didn't watch any of the trailers.
Yeah, that's your own fault.
Yeah,
I guess
So I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because then I would have seen that and not been as hilarious as it was.
Yeah,
here.
I think.
But it was so fucking funny.
I loved it. I loved that bit. Before I forget to say it, Drax in this movie he makes him being my favorite MCU character pays off in truckloads in this movie. I will say Drax is fucking awesome in this movie. He doesn't have, as much screen time as Rocket or Peter or whatever, everything. He probably has about just as much as Mantis, but just me being invested in him pays off so much in this movie. I can't fucking believe it. I almost cried at the end. Almost.
Yeah.
Seeing Drax tear up when Mantis was walking away. I didn't think they were going to hook up, but I thought they were going to like be kind of
a duo.
A Groot and Rocket kind of duo, and just be kind of inseparable.
Yeah. Like best friends.
But the restraint there, of course everyone thought that, right?
Yes.
The restraint is just, it's awesome, because it makes sense that Mantis would want to go away. But before we get too far away from Counter Earth, I just want to, as far as trailers go, I'm trying. It's kind of hard. No, it's not that hard, but it was just occasionally a couple trailers sneak up on you that I want to watch. But I want to.
Nope, haven't seen it.
Yeah, I want to quit watching trailers in their entirety. Maybe watch the first 5 seconds and then, all right, got a cool aesthetic, we're out.
Yeah, I don't watch trailers, not really, except the ones you send me and you show me. But
yeah.
Other than that, I don't have, like, I'll see like, oh, the new trailer came out, like the one for the new Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I watched it.
I didn't watch it.
That's the only trailer I've watched in couple months.
I know you told me you watched it, and I was kind of mad, but it's okay, because it is what it is, and watching a trailer doesn't ruin or shouldn't ruin the movie for you.
Yeah, I wish more trailers would put fake shit in there.
Maybe not fake shit.
Like, well, not fake shit, but shit that's not shit that contextually just isn't in the movie. That is kind of misleading.
Like Beau is Afraid. I think that trailer was a bit misleading.
It was, yeah, in a good in a good way. After watching it and talking about it, I think the trailer actually elevates.
So do more of that.
The movie, yeah. Kind of just give a vibe of what's kind of going on here, and then just take it from there. Yeah, because and then on the other side of that, you have Netflix, where they give you the entire plot of the movie in 4 minutes, and you're like, all right, good to go.
Don't need to watch that.
Yeah, Drax.
Well, hold up before you get on. Are you gonna say something?
I was gonna say Drax throwing the ball.
Oh,
awesome! Another awesome bit.
Yes.
There's so many awesome bits. There's probably over 150 awesome bits in this whole movie.
Yes. Second thing, I guess, about Counter Earth is the first F-bomb gets dropped in the MCU.
That's the first one?
I think so.
Minus
I think it was
Deadpool,
a big deal.
I guess.
Huh?
Minus Deadpool, I guess.
Yeah, mine is. Yeah, I guess mine is. I don't know. Does Deadpool drop an F-bomb? I was reading somewhere that it was the first one out of the 30-some movies or 50-some movies, however many there are.
Yeah, I don't know how many movies. That's interesting.
And it was I don't know if you remember, but it was when Nebula was trying to open the door, and Peter's like, "Just open the fucking door," and it's so fitting. It's perfect. If you're gonna drop an F-bomb, it's got to be there. It's got to be where you would say it. You know, don't pretend out here that you don't say the F-bomb.
And don't do a what the fuck. You know, we don't need that. We might all say that all the time, but you can't put if you're gonna have one of those in your movie, you gotta make it punch right where it's most natural.
And it's like it was so perfect where he dropped it, because it's a door. Everyone knows how to open a door. He's stressed. He's anxious. You know, he just got through dealing with this fake ass Earth with weird looking people that are animals, and he needs to go save his man. Like, he needs to go help Rocket, and everything's just so chaotic, and this bitch can't open the door. And oh my god, it's so perfect, and it's cool. I didn't know it was the first F-bomb either, but
yeah, I didn't know
makes
that's
sense.
that. I mean, that does make sense. That does make sense. It was really surprising to hear. You're just like, did he just? Because it's so quick. It's so natural. It's not. We don't hang up on it for any second at all, and it's just like, did I hear that right? It's awesome.
Yes,
it was awesome. It was awesome. I love that.
And I know there's a little bit of a backlash on that.
Fuck those guys.
Exactly.
It's a backlash. Why? What are they saying?
Because this is a PG-13 movie, I think, and you know, you can't be dropping F-bombs, I guess. Although, you know, we have, I think he says dumbass and dick in the elevator. He's calling Gamora a dumbass and her being a dick for what she did, I guess, that she couldn't help. But
are they mad that it's PG-13, or are they mad that you're saying a couple of curse words in a PG-13 movie? Because that's pretty normal.
I think they're mad that they're saying a cuss word in a PG-13 movie that a lot of kids are going to be at. I'm sorry, you're the perfect parent and you don't cuss around your kid?
Yeah.
Or are you the parent that spells it out, which is even worse?
Fuck. SHIT BITCH. We need more bitches in Guardians of the Galaxy. We need more shits.
Oh gosh.
And then him not knowing how to drive, it's priceless. He never learned how to drive. He knows how to drive a fucking intergalactic spaceship, but he can't drive a car.
Yeah.
That's funny stuff.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. You know, when we visit Counter Earth, and you know, the whole time we get hints of him creating this like new world, and that's supposedly where Rocket and Lila and Floor and Teeth are going to go to. You know, that's their dream. That's the goal here. But then you get to this Counter Earth, and not everything's perfect like he thought it was going to be, and you get some of that, and
it's just like Earth.
It's just like Earth, which is kind of eerie in a way.
Yeah, it sets up some kind of, you know, inevitability or kind of deterministic, you know, philosophy, and that's a really interesting thing to bring up from a god who has so much control. You know, because they can just the high evolutionary can just, and he did just reset. And so it's like a fucking petri dish or something, you know. It's like science gone bad, out of control kind of thing. And
oops.
Yeah, and it's really fucking interesting, man. It's how many worlds has he run this simulation on, you know?
Yeah.
It's like next level kind of, you know, how do we deal with the consciousness of an AI, you know? It's like, how do we deal with the consciousness of a society that just kind of pops into existence,
oh my
you know?
gosh.
And they're living creatures, you know, an AI is not a living thing.
Yeah, these are living creatures. They have created a family. They have created a society, a community.
They have heritage. Yeah, they have culture. It's it's pretty cool. And I love that it's Counter Earth. If it was something else, it just wouldn't. I don't think it would have been as effective.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they speak this, nonsensical language that's, to the audience and to our characters, and they're trying to like talk to them, and they just even like their sign language kind of body language type thing, they're just not really working.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's so cool. And then I like how everybody looks, even though they're kind of furry-esque and super anthropomorphized. Aesthetically, they look. I mean, I think everybody's got a little bit of CG on them, but man, they look good.
Mm-hmm.
They look good.
Yeah.
After seeing bits and pieces of Ant-Man, the recent Ant-Man that came out a couple months ago, and this, it's just, I can't believe they're both part of the MCU. Like, this is tapping into Dungeons and Dragons aesthetics. We don't quite, I don't think we're quite there on the practical effects with any of this. No, I maybe take that back. I take that back. I think, unless some of the CG is that good at this point with Guardians. But man, Ant-Man. I don't know if you've seen anything about Ant-Man.
I saw like 2 seconds when somebody had it on the TV.
Oh yeah, and it is such a great example of how not to do CG. It's probably the best example, actually, the most recent Ant-Man. It's real bad. It's worse than most of the MCU. And then you have this come out like 2 or 3 months later. It's just, or was this before? I'm not sure, but this year, and I just can't. It just feels like complete. It might be 2 different studios. I don't know about the production of it too much. I'm not working on this stuff and everything, but man, it just feels like 2 completely different. It's like Tim Burton's Batman and the most recent, Robert Pattinson Batman. It's just like they're so fucking different. Like it's just crazy. I just can't wrap my mind around what's the fucking problem here. And I'd be willing to bet. I don't know, but I'd be willing to bet Ant-Man costs more money. Because I mean that's.
Damn.
I'm so fucking.
You heard it here.
I don't know.
I mean,
I think that has everything to do with James Gunn being a much smarter and powerful creative than anyone who worked on Ant-Man anywhere.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Or most of the MCU too, but I liked the part where Batista clotheslined that guy off the motorcycle, and they were like,
yes.
Well, I guess more specifically, I like the part where he's like telling Mantis to get on there. We're just gonna take a ride back over there, and she gets on, and they start going, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And he's just laughing. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It was good.
It's so charming too. They have my favorite. He's not only my favorite character, but Drax and Mantis are my favorite duo as well, which may not be that big of a surprise, really, but my favorite writing comes out of them talking to each other. Just my favorite everything comes out of them. So it makes the ending heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
Totally. I think no matter how you cut this, really, it's kind of heartbreaking by the end.
Yeah, no matter who your favorite is or your favorite duo or whomever, it's all heartbreaking. Well, I guess I got a little bit carried away talking about Counter Earth before we talked about what's it called? Orgo Core,
which
planet,
is
whatever headquarters.
Yeah, it's like a big organic ship, like made out of organic material, which is
fucking awesome.
So cool. It's not the crazy. It's not it's not the most beautiful CG in the world, although it gets real cool. I don't know how much practical effects are there when they're on Orgo Core and they're cutting in and stuff, but it looks great. But from far away and stuff, it it kind of starts to lose its definition, of course, because it's just. I think that's just one of the shortcomings of CG is when things are far away, they just are by nature of the technology are just gonna lose that definition.
Yeah,
like it has less definition than even our sun in the sky, or our moon. So it's just I don't know. It's a funny thing that it bothers me a little bit, but man. All right, you got, great CG for, what it is and everything, but when you have just this weird, cool, conceptual thing, right? And I'm sold. I'm sold. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think this was the most visually pleasing planet I've ever seen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And, the colors that they decided to incorporate here added to that. I mean, you start off with them and they're multicolored spacesuits. Someone's wearing blue, someone's wearing yellow, someone's wearing red or whatever. And then, they're already multicolored. Gamora's fucking, green. Drax is whatever color he is.
He's like a stone blue.
Yeah, and then you have... Who else is there?
Mantis.
Yeah, I think it was just them 4, right?
And Peter.
And Nebula. Nebula's blue. I was thinking there was another color. Blue. Nebula.
Yeah.
With all these other colors, so that's cool. And then they go inside and you have all this white and orange, and it just was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yes. And I like that you bring that up, because that brings up the colored buttons, which I think is probably the most, like, in quotes, kind of, this joke, runs the chance of being just incredibly stupid, which it definitely was the most stupid joke of all the jokes, but it was handled with just perfect grace. It didn't overstay its welcome. It didn't get brought back up. It was contextually sensible. It was cute. It had like a cute little reason why it happened, and everything. It's a perfectly told MCU joke that it was just awesome. I couldn't believe it. That I was like, oh no. Well, actually, I there wasn't really an all-no moment. It was kind of a retrospect thing. Like, I can't believe it worked, because he's talking to Gamora, and then they're like, well, you're on the the open line, and he's like, fuck, and then they all click all the buttons and stuff, or they all explain the buttons, and then Mantis like holds one of the buttons down and yells in Peter's ear or whatever, or something like that, and it's just cute, and we don't get those weird MCU just stupid ass jokes, and that was like correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that was the only opening for something like that in the whole movie. I feel like this movie's pretty somber. We don't get a lot of ha-has.
Yeah.
Some funny things happen, of course. We got some funny characters together and everything. But a lot of those funny things are complemented with, damn,
Yeah.
that like kind of hit. Like the one where Drax and Mantis and Nebula get into the bottom hull of the big ass ship that the High Evolutionary is driving. We get a funny thing happen there, and it's complemented by a damn moment. We'll get to that in a minute. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. That probably is my favorite. That's probably my second favorite part of the whole movie, actually. That instance down there, but it's just handled. The jokes are handled with grace. I just can't believe it. Yeah. I'm impressed. I
agree with you. You have this heart-to-heart moment with Peter and Gamora, or he's trying to have one anyway. And, she says, okay, Quinn. And he's like, it's Quill. Like, he's getting torn. And then, I don't know who said it, that, it's like, oh, you're on the line with everybody. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna go here and, kind of ruin this moment. But then it gets funny. And it's done okay. And like you said, it didn't overstay its welcome. And it didn't get fucking brought up later. And I fucking love that they threw the spacesuits down the, chute, whatever, disposal chute. And it was hilarious. And I completely agree that there's funny bits that they're kind of, would you call them somber? They're kind of, yeah, they're funny damn moments.
Yeah.
And this was kind of one of them, because it's funny, haha, spacesuits, communication error, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the spacesuits, bye-bye.
Yeah, but how are we getting back to Rocket?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How are we getting back out? Go ahead.
I just want to say that one thing I like about Peter's whole interactions with Gamora is he is sad about it all. We've lost this old Peter, or at least as far as his feelings towards trying to get to know Gamora. Mm-hmm. He knew Gamora. He lost his Gamora, and now he's kind of. It almost feels like he knows that it's just not going to happen, but he's kind of trying.
Yeah.
Of course you got to try a little bit, right? Any respectable person would, especially surrounded by friends, and trying to get some good energy going and stuff. But he's so saddened by it, the whole thing. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. And then here at Orgo Core, Drax gets shot.
I know.
And I thought he was goner. I thought he was dead.
I will say, I thought Drax, at that moment, so I will say at the very beginning of the movie, I was like, Nebula's dead. Nebula's gone.
Nebula, okay.
Nebula's the one, she's the easiest one to sacrifice in this movie as far as killing someone off.
Yes.
I love that they didn't kill anyone off, at least, formally.
Yeah.
But when Drax got shot, I was like, no fucking way are we killing my boy. And I was like, that, in my mind, it just immediately made sense because we have this connection with Mantis. We can rip this fucking Band-Aid off. We can just, we're still struggling with fucking Rocket, if he's even going to make it. And then Drax is just like going to be dead. And, Rocket's going to have to wake up to that.
Yep.
I
went, and then I immediately look over at your face, and I'm like, "Oh no, is this happening?"
Oh my god, I was just, I couldn't believe it.
But it didn't, and I'm so fucking glad.
That was awesome. That was an awesome moment.
Yeah.
And then even up to that, another good moment. There's so many good moments. I like the moment where Mantis and Drax are, they're heading into like the lobby, and then Mantis touches the host type guy, the guy who checks
security guard,
some security guard, and then he falls in love with he's in love with Drax.
Yes.
And he's it's just so stupid. It's so good. It's so contextually on point, and then Drax is just so awkward. Batista's so fucking good. When are people gonna understand? He's so good. He's just so awkward, and and then he's like, at the same time in his awkwardness, he's like, I hate you, Mantis, for doing this.
Yeah.
And it's such a loving kind of thing. And she's like, hee hee hee. And it's so good. It's so good. It's unfucking believably good. I just can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I don't know who thought, like, picking Drax, picking Batista to be Drax in the first place is like, all right, that's cool. I'm glad. I love you, James Gunn, for giving this man a chance, right? I'm all team Batista. But when Guardians 2 rolls around, he's going to counter him with Mantis. It's just like,
it's fucking genius.
Is this in the comics? Is this kind of just a natural dynamic? And then not to mention their just chemistry as performers is just awesome. Like, I wish I could see the casting call of like, all right, the man, whoever plays Mantis, like, I don't know her name. But her, like, maybe just like forcing her to like bounce off of Batista to kind of see what kind of dynamic we can get and stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's something like that went down, because man, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. That's one of my favorite. That's not one of my favorites, but it's a great scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
I'll get to my two favorites when we get to them. I already got to one of them earlier at the very end when they separate, but we'll go back to that.
Okay.
We'll get back around to that. I will say this, the Orgo section is the part that drags on the most. It doesn't lose its pace or anything.
It didn't drag on to me.
It didn't drag on to you?
No.
Yeah.
I was just enamored with this movie.
I'm trying to think why it drug on.
I think there was a little bit too much of Peter kind of being mad at Gamora, and kind of, maybe that could be something to do with it. But I felt like he needed I felt like he needed to say his two bits. He needed to get that out. He needed to tell her that, here she is helping them save Rocket, and he's been thinking about her this whole time, and he's just so mad. And then he wants her back so bad, and he tries to make her jealous. I mean, maybe this is a little bit of lovesick Peter that could have been maybe a little bit dragged on here. I don't know if that's what you're...
Yeah, I don't really know. It just, my mind's eye, this part sticks around just a couple minutes too long, but maybe I mean, I'm really kind of, not that this is a perfect movie. It's kind of hard to say because I feel like this is as good as it gets for the MCU until I'm, proven otherwise, but I can't. This is just beat for beat. I feel like as good as it gets. So I'm not really sure what it was about this section. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the fighting or not. I'm not sure. I wanted to bring up the point where the point where Nebula, Drax, and Mantis board the big ship that the High Evolutionary's on. This might be my favorite part of the movie. This instance between the characters, at least. The favorite instance between the characters. First of all, they show up, and Nebula's like, get the ship over here right now, and Drax is like, that's not gonna I can't have it.
He's like, why? I'm right here.
It's funny, because it's so good. I don't know why it works so well with them. That wouldn't have worked well with if Peter was in that scenario, and like, also that's not. I guess it works well because it's like kind of within character.
Yes,
it helps. You'd expect Drax to do that. He's bored, he doesn't want to stand around doing nothing, and he basically kidnaps Mantis, and he thinks it's funny, and it's
totally within character.
Not really kidnap, but he plays a practical joke on her. They have like this thing going on. It's so fun. But yeah, they jump onto the hull of this planet-sized ship, moon-sized ship, and they get in and they see all these kids, and then this is where, Gamora's like, not Gamora, this is where Nebula, goes off on Drax for being a dummy, and she's just mean as shit, and then Mantis, feels like she needs to step up and stand up to Nebula, saying that he's the only person in our group who loves himself. He makes us laugh, things like that, and it's just like, damn. This is, and then she's like, she also says, yeah, he might be an idiot, but
so what if he's dumb?
Yeah, and so it's kind of a mirror of him in the second movie. My favorite part of the second movie, where he starts, he says that she's disgusting, and that, and that later in that movie where he starts gagging because he's like, oh, I just imagined us being intimate. He starts fucking gagging. It's awesome. It's so fucking funny, and it's kind of a mirror happening here, and she stands up for him, and it's like. And he's just like, you think I'm dumb? And it's just like, it's just so good. His face, like him watching him, or watching Mantis, Drax watching Mantis it's just so good. They're having a moment without Mantis even being face to face. She's defending Drax. It's just like so good. And Nebula's like, just so over it and stuff. And then, a few minutes later, when they're trying to deal with these kids, which is weird in its own right. It's like a whole human child trafficking thing going on down here. It's fucking,
this guy.
It's cool. They're in big like cages and stuff, and it's so cool. Like, but later Drax has this like great moment with the kids where he's, he dances. He says, on my planet or my kids liked me dancing like a monkey or acting like a monkey, and then he doesn't do it. He doesn't, not the monkeys we know, which is hilarious. It's just awesome. And then he speaks their language, and it's just like a fucking mic drop moment. That's Drax's moment out of all three movies. That was his. That was it. That was awesome. And Nebula is just like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you say something before? And Drax is just like, well, you didn't ask.
It was
awesome.
Fucking awesome.
It was awesome. Might be my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know if it's my favorite part, but it's definitely up there on my favorite kind of clapbacks, Even though he wasn't saying it to be, rude or anything. He was just like, well, you never asked. So why was I going to tell you? It was great. It just showed kind of like how they treat Drax.
Yeah, and how they misunderstand him.
Yes.
Not Mantis doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, even Mantis on some level, but it just builds this narrative of Drax is from maybe really far away from the normal civilized part of the galaxy. And I love that. I love that he's this misfits of even to misfits, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love Drax.
I don't think I can name enough, sad Rocket moments.
You can try.
I can try. But one of them is definitely when, he's dying. He's flatlined. And Gamora and Peter are there. And they hear it. I think Gert's there too. I don't remember. But he's, Peter has to save him. He has to, do CPR on Rocket. And he's just trying and trying to revive him. And Gamora just tells him.
He's hitting him. He's like, fucking, it's
so sad. And, Gamora's reading the little thingies on his, I don't know what the fuck that is. But, she's like, he's gone. And then she tells him to stop. She's like, Peter, you gotta stop. He's stopped. He's gone. Like, just stop. And he doesn't fucking stop. And I'm like, okay, this is it. This is what I was waiting for the whole fucking movie. And then she said that. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Why'd you have to say that? Now he's gonna stop. But he doesn't stop. And he brings him back. And I'm like, God damn. Why are you doing this to me right now? And then from that moment, you're happy that he's back, but you know something else is gonna happen. You know that he has to go in and face his demons. He has to go and face this high evolutionary guy. And then we have I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm remembering the order here of the events that happen next, but we have these really cool fighting scenes, in that corridor. That was pretty cool.
Yes, I think that is the best James Gunn fighting scene we've gotten.
Yeah.
Because I know I've seen online that people are kind of make fun of James Gunn's
fighting scenes. Oh, okay.
And I don't feel like they're all that different from the rest of the MCU.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what that is. Like they say that they don't know how they say he doesn't know how to shoot them and make them look right.
Well, here you fucking go.
And I think this might be among the best fighting scenes, if not the best one in the MCU. I haven't seen them in a while, so I'm not sure, but the only standout bit of all the other fighting scenes in my mind's eye is that the Captain America Thanos thing when he tries, he smacks him with the hammer and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a big moment. Everyone claps and stuff, and it's cool. It is cool and very epic. But I'm pretty sure it's a big wide shot of them just clashing, like kind of like gods, and it's cool. But nothing like this. We're in a tight room, ping-ponging back and forth between characters, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's super cool. It's not John Wick levels, obviously. It never can be with CG, right? But it's fun. Most of the fighting's not fun in any of these movies, I would say. I don't know if that's just me, but this is a fun scene. We saw it twice. I saw it twice, actually, because you fell asleep at that moment.
Oh.
I saw that whole fight scene twice, and it was not a bore the second time. Which is, I think, saying a lot coming from me, because I am not a fan of fight scenes. I don't give a fuck about fight scenes.
And I love fight scenes. So if, one stands out, you're fucking standing out. And
yeah.
I guess it could go for both ways. You don't really like them that much, so if one stands out, it's pretty good. And I've seen so many and loved so many that if one stands out, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a pretty good job there. And then, we have to face this villain. We have to face our villain now, and of course it has to be Rocket, and he has to go face him. And he goes into the area where he was kept as an experiment, and you're feeling all your feels for him. And then he sees the cage of the baby raccoons, and he opens it and he lets them out, and they all climb on top of him. I'm like, oh my God.
They're playing with your emotions now. They have you. James Gunn knows he's got you, and he's playing with you now, not in a manipulative way, just in
I feel like he is manipulating.
No,
me.
man, this is perfect. This is what I mean, this is it. This is epic, superhero storytelling right here. This is as good as it fucking gets. It's good stuff.
Yeah. And then, bad guy comes, he shakes the raccoons off, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna hurt the babies. But no, he shakes them off. They start fighting, his friends come in and help, and they fucking beat this asshole.
Well, he gets him up against the ceiling, and then we are then reminded that he has his gravity boots that we get just an instance of like an hour and a half earlier when they're in Orgo Core or whatever. That's right. And so it's just like, fuck, I forgot about those. Yep. Yes, he's gonna, his gravity powers are fucking useless, and then his friends come in and they just destroy him. Yeah, it's awesome.
Fucking destroy him. Thank fucking God. I don't want this villain to keep being evil. And then they, unmask him, which is fucking awesome. I was hoping they would. Because, in the beginning, you don't see him in the past. You see him, I guess, in the present. So you see that he's got a weird thing around his face. You're like, what is that? Like, why is his face kind of stretched and pulled right there? Like, that's weird. And then you later see that Rocket scratch the shit out of his face. Like, oh, okay, all right, I get it now. And then you're kind of curious, like, what did he do to him? What's underneath that? Blah, blah, blah. And then you see it, and you're like, yes. I wanted to see it so bad.
Yeah, and towards the end of that little fight scene, he has, like, a piece of his face hanging. Like, it's just like, I guess it's surprisingly graphic for a Marvel film, too. Because it's just like, he has a piece of skin hanging from him. And is that CG? I don't think so. It looks awesome. His face looks awesome, and then they peel it off, and he's all mutilated under there, and it's so good. And they show you for a good second.
Yes, I loved it. It's so disturbing. I loved it.
It's good stuff. I can't get over that. And it's such a satisfying end to a really great villain.
Okay, so they already played with the baby raccoons here for me. So I'm already, lump in my throat. Can't finish. I think I was eating a Subway sandwich while we were watching this, and I couldn't finish the whole fucking sandwich because it was hard to swallow sometimes.
Your throat closed up.
Yeah, and then okay, here's the baby raccoons. God damn, I'm crying. And then we have, this very, very, very nice, very lovely scene where they're rescuing the kids. They're getting them off this ship that's about to fucking burst or whatever it's about to do. And, they're saving the kids. And then Cosmo, is that the dog's name? Cosmo, I think. Yeah. She's holding this shit together, like both ships together so the children can cross. And she can't hold on anymore. And then you have Mantis, like, kind of touch her and help her get through these, hard struggles. And you're like, oh my God, this is so cute. This is a good moment. I'm not crying, but I'm feeling the loveliness and the niceness from this. And then Rocket's like, we can't leave him in there. And then Peter's like, no, we got the kids. We're good. He's like, no, we can't leave them in there. And then all these fucking animals start coming out. And god damn, man. It's so good. And they're all deformed and
wild.
And they're experiments and they're wild and it's crazy, but it's so fucking beautiful. And I'm like, all right, well, this is how we're ending. Great job. I'm
destroyed.
I'm destroyed. My sandwich is wet from my
tears. Sandwich is wet.
And then Peter didn't make it. And now I think he's dead because someone's got to die if he's playing with me like this.
Someone's got to die, yes. Yes.
And he died to get his fucking whatever thing,
his Zoom
MP3 player, whatever.
And we know how fucking important that is. It's like, god damn it, Peter. Why does this matter so much? You can get another one.
Yes. And so, his face starts swelling up. And I'm like, oh my God.
Who gives him the Zoom? Is it Rocket?
Daddy. Yondu.
Yondu gives it to him.
Yondu
Yeah.
gives it to him. Or I guess, his friend gives it to him. He's like, here, he wanted you to have this, but it's from Yondu.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So, of course, he has to go back and get it. And then, he's out there. He's all swollen. I'm like, okay, if he's swollen, like, his organs are gone.
He would have been dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life.
And then, his arms kind of outstretched. And then I see, like, this finger. And I'm like, oh, my God. Did Gamora try to rescue him? I thought that's where my mind went.
That's where your mind went?
Yeah, Gamora tried to rescue him. And then they both die out in space. And I'm like, that's where my mind's already at. So my emotions are already there.
Yeah.
So I'm already,
Didn't take much.
Yeah, it didn't take much. But then he gets fucking rescued. And I'm like, okay, goddamn, all right.
By the gold guy.
Yeah, which is fucking awesome. We knew how awesome he was. And here he is saving Peter and saving my emotions, really.
Yeah. And we can't be too upset with him, really, either, because he's just trying to save his species of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Even though he kind of caused most of this. Yeah, you can't be too mad at him.
That is true. Yeah, he did cause the basically death of Rocket, so.
But you're already all over the place. If you weren't crying at this point, you're gonna cry at the end because it's the most bittersweet moment I have seen in a movie.
Yeah, that's
they play, what is it, Dog Days Are Over, whatever that song's called. I think it's just called Dog Days. And then, everyone's dancing and, kind of celebrating, cheering. Well, I guess before that, the group is like, we're all doing our own thing. Peter's leaving. He's got to go deal with his past trauma he never dealt with. Mantis is leaving.
Because, I can't blame her because
she's also got to deal with her shit.
She's only known Ego and now the Guardians. She needs to get some social skills. And that part's super heartbreaking to me because Drax is like, I'll come with you. You'll die on your own. And she's like, no, I've got it.
And then Nebula's like, we need you here.
Yeah. You gotta be a dad here.
Yeah, you gotta be a dad here. And then he's like, damn, she's right. But then my best friend is leaving. And then, then we have the dancing. Everybody's so happy. They're celebrating life. And we see, Mantis walking away with her new beast friends. And Drax is just destroyed. The Destroyer is destroyed. And then Rocket's over there just nodding his head to the music. It's awesome. It's an awesome
It's mostly
ending.
bitter.
Yeah.
It's definitely mostly bitter. You don't have enough time to recover even from Rocket living.
I don't have time to recover from Rocket's sad eyes in the beginning.
I know. They do not let you go here. When they all start dancing and like Batista's like the last one to get moving.
Yeah.
Drax. And it's just, it kills me. It almost makes me cry. Almost.
Oh my gosh.
Because he didn't, he lost his kids. He lost his daughter. And, now he's got hundreds of kids.
This movie is so emotional. And, the actors, the characters, they're great. They're great at what they do. From the beginning, we knew they had great chemistry. From the beginning, we knew James Gunn knew exactly what to do with them. It's like he spent time with them to get to know them, who they were as people, and how they could incorporate that into their characters or something.
He probably did.
So these actors, not the characters anymore, these actors are probably fucking sad that this is ending.
Oh, yeah.
With this great person who knew what to do with them. So I think throughout the whole movie, they were sad too.
Yeah.
So it just elevated the fucking emotion, the sadness, especially in the end. Some of the people out there dancing and celebrating or whatever were probably, maybe like production crew or people also kind of having their bittersweet moment to the ending of this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was, oh my gosh, it was just so gut wrenching.
It's pretty common for big features and projects to throw big parties right after, like right after they're done filming, and so it just seemed kind of like that. It was just kind of a big celebration to what they had, and just at the same time a very meta kind of bittersweet moment with, good luck, Marvel, Disney fucking taking the reins of this one. Good luck outdoing me. Good luck outdoing the Guardians,
I think that's kind of the sweet part about the bitter,
It's part of it.
Part of it.
Bitter for them. Sweet for us.
Yeah.
Well, I guess also bitter for us too, because we won't get another. This is it. I'm 100% certain this is it for Marvel. This is the last great Marvel movie. No matter how you feel about, no matter my feelings even on different other Marvel films up to this point, I think this is definitely it.
I think so too.
I think this is gonna be a really symbolic, final hurrah and goodbye to what we knew as the MCU dominance in the industry. And I think poetically that'd be pretty sick. In retrospect, if we look back in 50 years from now, and you're like, wow, they went out with a bang in every way possible, and it's just crazy how things kind of ended up with them. But I definitely think that's gonna be the way. And this movie didn't, wasn't crazy as far as box office numbers, but it definitely is one of the recent, so-called hits for Disney. Disney's been making a lot of misses lately, supposedly. Yeah. I don't know how true it is, but I've been seeing the headlines. Indiana Jones might be the biggest miss of Disney's since John Carter. I don't know if you saw that.
Nope.
But they put a lot of time and money in that one, and they lost big time. If that's true about Indiana Jones, though, that tells me that they weren't done with Indiana Jones. That they were gonna get more out of them. There's a lot of bittersweet kind of here, because it makes me happy and excited to see what Disney does next, because they know, and it also makes me happy to see what James Gunn does with DC. You might have some kind of reformation. You might become a DC fan after James Gunn takes the reins.
If he does anything like this, maybe. I never thought I would say those words.
I never thought a Marvel film would choke me up.
See, now you can't say shit about Marvel, right?
No, I still can.
All right.
Because, it's the kind of like the broken clock thing is right twice a day, right? There's a handful of solid Marvel movies out there. I will say that, I can't, and I'll tell you, I've said it before, I can't take away, the industry dominance they have and the kind of cinematic influence they're having on the market and stuff and everything. For better or worse, time will tell us. Most Marvel movies suck, and it just sucks that we have so few great ones. We see the potential for these really just unbelievably epic, stories told in a high drama kind of way. It can be done. I'm surprised. I like this movie. I wanted to see this movie. It's the first Marvel movie I wanted to see probably since maybe the first Iron Man. I don't know. I don't know if I wanted to see any of them, to be honest.
That's funny.
Maybe the first Spider-Man. I'm not sure. But they've always just kind of been on, and I watch them more. People want to go see him, and I go see him with them. It's like, so.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I want to say about the film before, we briefly cover reviews I've heard. And maybe, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about James Dunn's. Wow.
I was just going to let it happen.
Thank you. James Gunn's leaving, but I mean, besides him just going to work on DC films, I don't know much. And I really don't know much about the drama here that happened, really. But besides Drax's, line where he said, you never asked me, when Nebula was asking him about why he didn't fucking tell them that he knew how to speak the language. I guess Rocket has a quote that I really like after, they defeated the High Evolutionary. He said, he didn't want to make things perfect. He just hated things the way they are. And that was good. That was good, Rocket. That was a great description of this guy. And it just, it fits the whole movie. But, pretty much a lot of the reviews on this film were positive, I guess. And I'm just surprised on some of the negative reviews I've seen. I don't know what the score is on Letterboxd. I didn't look. Okay.
The score on Letterboxd is 4.0. That's out of 5. That's very high.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
That's a 100-point scale. So that's very high.
Okay, that's awesome. It deserves that. But there's this guy on YouTube, and his name is escaping me, but he pretty much covers films right after he watches them. So he does a lot of what are they called, like pre-screenings?
Yeah. Early screenings.
Or opening weekends. He does a lot of those and then reviews them.
Lucky him.
Yeah. But he called this a formulaic Marvel film, MCU film, and how it was just all too familiar. And I don't know, maybe not so lucky him, because he needs to take some time to think about what he just fucking watched. Because that's crazy to call it this.
Yeah, I mean, it begs the question, did you watch it? Did you watch this film? It's kind of like that one person, I don't know what movie it was.
Probably Beau is Afraid. We got a lot of negative shit on that.
No, I think it was something a little more simple. It was...
The Whale?
Yes, it was The Whale. And someone had said something about... Someone didn't know that he was gay or something.
Oh my
You
gosh.
brought that up or something like that.
Yes.
You remember that, kind of?
I remember... Yeah.
They brought up something that was just totally missed on them, that was like essential to this whole story. Charlie's in love with I think his name's Alan.
Yes.
In the movie. Hello.
Did you watch the first 10 minutes with the
Oh yeah, it's pretty shocking. First
5 minutes,
3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's a great mood setter. The Whale's awesome. If you haven't seen it, go see The Whale. We have a great episode of that. So
if you like me, crying or tearing up, go listen to that one. I think I just choked up a little on that one. I don't think tears fell out like this one. But God, did you see any of the other Guardians? Have you seen the Marvel films? I'm sorry. What is so formulaic about this? I don't know. It was just crazy for that to be said.
There is, of course, something to say about formulaic films or whatnot and stuff, but I mean, I didn't see the video or anything, but that kind of shit reminds me when people, if that's all he said, is that all he said? That's all it seemed like it?
He said he liked it, but that it was very formulaic, so he probably liked it as much as the other films.
See, that kind of shit just rings how people say shit about video games. They'll be like, oh, it's too repetitive. I mean, yes, the nature of what you do in a game is literally repetitive.
Yeah, you got like 10 buttons.
You've got a very limited number of buttons. You fall into very habitual ways of playing the game, certain combos, yada yada, certain, ways of handling specific characters and everything. Like it's yeah. You do a lot of fetch quests in games. You know what that is? A fetch quest? I'm sure you can imagine. You go to a guy. He's like, hey, I need this bucket of salt. And you're like, all right, where do I find a bucket of salt? You go get it. You bring it back.
And he gives you something.
Fetch quest. Yeah. Sometimes they give you something. Sometimes it's just like, oh, thank you. You're a real Samaritan. Shit like that. And it's just like, yes, some of that's like maybe not as engaging as other quests are, right? But there's only so many ways to tell a story. There's only so many ways to design quests in video games. There's only so many ways to write songs. These things are gonna feel familiar, and that's just that's some of the beautiful things about all this shit. And yes, the MCU has somewhat of a formula that's not necessarily a bad thing. That I need more. I do need more. And then, but first and foremost, name one other MCU film that's this fucking somber. I dare you.
No. there's probably only been, and you know, if I can name them, that says a lot, but there's probably only been like 3 times that I've teared up, not even cried, not even tears rolling down, maybe one, the tears rolling down, but just 3 scenes where that's happened, not even the whole fucking movie. So the first one's in, you know, the Avengers, when you think, I think it's the first Avengers, when Iron Man flies off into space and you think he's gonna die, and they just zoom in on his beautiful brown Iron Man eyes, and you're like, oh fuck, he's gonna die, and I teared up. You know, probably next moment is when everyone's fucking disappearing from Earth. But more importantly, when it's Spider-Man, when it's our Tom Holland boy, and he's like, you know, Mr. Stark, like, you know, what's happening? And then, and then you're like, oh shit, my soul. And I mean, you know, it's just one scene here. Everyone else is fucking dying off, but just, you know, just Tom Holland being taken
That one
away.
got, I bet most people.
Yeah.
I bet you it did.
And then when Iron Man dies, I think that one I was bawling. I was crying because he's my favorite character. Might not be my favorite, you know, movies or whatever, but you know, I have a very, very soft spot for Iron Man. And that's it. That's it. Nothing else has crushed my heart like this movie has. And even, you know, Volume 2.
I mean, it starts from the very beginning, like we've been saying. These guys are out of place, even in the MCU. They're not superheroes. So I don't know how you can sit there and tell me that it's formulaic, you know? We're from the get-go.
Literally from the first movie, first scene, his mom has fucking cancer and he didn't hold her hand when she's fucking dying, and then he gets kidnapped by space. What?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That was just very, you know, and he talked about how the movie was okay. You know, the fighting was okay. Cool. You know, he liked that they didn't make Peter and Gamora fall in love. Like, okay. And then very formulaic. Dude, how is this movie not a fucking plus in your book? I mean, come on. And then on Wiki, the Chicago Tribune says it's the most empty, brutal MCU movie yet.
A journal?
Chicago Tribune, yeah.
Huh.
Empty? Empty? You're empty.
I want to read that.
You are empty.
I'm going to have to read that.
Yes, please read it. Please let me know if they say, you know, all these beautiful things and then there's just one weird offline and then that's what someone took and ran with.
Yeah, that may just be...
Yeah. So, I hope not. I hope you don't fucking call this film empty. No, you need to come watch it with me you won't see empty.
I'm happy to call a movie empty, man.
Yeah.
This is not an empty film.
Go watch Thor. Go watch those movies. Those are empty.
And those are so... Those movies so shouldn't be empty. They're about an insecure god. Come on. That's great. So stupid. I don't know how you call... It's just... I don't know. I'm going to go read that. I'm going to have to go read that. That's nice to hear, though. I have only seen glowing shit about this, which is, of course, annoying, right? Barbie's has just came out, right? And it's just receiving nothing but glowing reviews, man. It's nuts. I'm just like, all right, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go read that. Yeah, well, do you have any final thoughts for me, man? I think I've talked about all the things I want to talk about. Yeah, those 2 Drax scenes, man. I feel so proud about how I've chosen Drax from the get-go. From the get-go, man. The moment we met Drax, I was like, this is my dude. And of course pre-seeing Drax on, you know, in the first Guardians, I'm Batista bias, you know? Yeah. I'm like, all right, sign me up, you know? And then Drax pays off in the first one.
Yeah.
His performance is awesome. His writing is awesome, you know? It's everything I could ever possibly want from this kind of character, from a superhero film or anything, you know? It's just more than I could have ever imagined and stuff, and I really appreciate that. from James Gunn and Batista. And then it built in just the best way. I could have never ever guessed. I could never have written this way for Drax, because I don't know. I don't know if Mantis, I don't know where Mantis came from. I don't know if that's an ego character or whatever for a comic character or anything, or if she's just pulled from a different part of the MCU and put into this specific movie to give a unique story, an original story. But then, we get that build up, we get that kind of counterpart to Drax, and we get some really amazing scenes in Guardians 2. And Guardians 2 is not nearly as good as this. I had to go back and forth in my head just because I don't want to be on the high of the emotion. I had to simmer down and stuff. And, you don't want to have that moment where, oh, I like Transformers, and then you tell someone and they make a face at you and you're like, why are you making that face? And then you go back and watch it, you're like, oh fuck,
why did I say I loved this?
I told someone I liked this film. How embarrassing, kind of thing. Kind of humbles your ass. And nothing wrong with Transformers. If you like Transformers, that's fine. If you like Michael Bay, that's fine. His best movie is Independence Day, probably, right? Is that I think that's his film. But then Drax in this film, man, it's just, we get more of Drax and Mantis, right? And then we get a little bit more of Drax having his moments. Drax being torn apart, being destroyed, just, Drax the Destroyer being destroyed, like you said. And it's awesome. And then seeing Batista tear up is just awesome. It's just awesome. Seeing his best friend walk away. And it's kind of funny because, he's like, Peter's my best friend. Or, no, I'm Peter's best friend, whatever he says, and stuff. But that's not true. It's just the subtext there, Mm-hmm. Drax is becoming more familiar with the way they talk and everything. You can kind of see him loosen up in that way and playing jokes and stuff. He gets real hooked on that, and it's just, Mantis is his best friend. Yeah. And it's awesome. And then she fucking leaves his ass. It's fucking sad. It's so good. It's so good. I'm here for Drax, and then everything else just worked out. Yeah. It really did. And I guess I will say it's sort of interesting that they put Groot on the back burner in this film. He became, I appreciate the restraint, because we could have had a bigger focus on Groot. We could have. And that probably would have been no harm. But we focused so hard on Baby Groot. So hard. He was, the major star of the second film in all the cute ways. And, all the merch came out of that. He became the meme of memes for a while, like Baby Yoda, and he's just everywhere, right? He was the Baby Yoda before Baby Yoda. Yeah. He walked so Baby Yoda could fucking fly, Yeah. And we really walked Groot back in this, but we still got a really cool Groot. Teenager Groot. He had all those guns in him when that big fight broke out at the top of the High Evolution's ship and everything. It was a super cool moment, But they walked that back, and I guess overall, the major thing comes away from this movie to me is I appreciate the restraint. I think it's kind of a less is more situation. I think especially in film and video games and just any kind of art, teasing people, keeping people right there on the edge, whatever that means in whatever context. It's just, that's where you want people to be at, You want people to be on the edge of the seat when they're scared. Emotion, right? Expectation, right? Satisfaction. You want to be right there, teeter-tottering back and forth. And it's just, I can't believe that an MCU film managed to do that. And it's sad that this is it for James Gunn's, story here. Yeah, it's sad, but at the same time, I think, like with a lot of the Marvel films, you were good. You were good. You were okay. And then you started sucking so hard. So, maybe, he puts out 3 fucking great, amazing films and he drops out like a fucking mic drop, and he didn't have time to have a bad movie. He didn't have time to. Yeah, he got off the sinking ship. Yeah. So I gotta appreciate that and respect the hell out of that. No doubt. Although I do think he could have at least made a movie about each one of these, especially Drax. I mean, you could have gone there and made a great Drax
film, you know, centered around him like we got with Rocket and Peter, but that's fine, you know.
Yeah, that could have been cool. That could have been cool. I can't imagine what that would have been, but I feel like that would 100% end in his death. If we had that again, I feel like someone's dying.
Yeah.
Someone's dying.
We have to, and I don't know if I could handle that, so.
Yeah. And I would appreciate the more restraint that would bring up too, because I feel like the natural next one is Groot to get to focus on in some way, and like in a deeper way.
I think they're going to do that.
You think they are?
I don't think they're going to do it well because it's not,
of course,
you know,
yeah.
Oh my fucking God. James Gunn.
We're fucking this up.
Jim. It's not James Gunn's, you know, Groot. This is going to be somebody else's Groot. And, you know, they'll do what they'll do with it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, for this film, I think it's kind of fitting that Groot wasn't as involved as he was because he was a teenager. And what do teenagers do? They don't want to be the center of attention. They don't, although they do, but they don't, you know, they're just in the back, you know.
He's also
He's
Rocket's
moody.
dude, and Rocket's not the center here.
Yeah.
And so it's, I like that. I like that.
You know, and then the second one, he's a baby.
Yeah.
We gotta fucking make him important here. We gotta do it. But, you know, I guess just for you, I was thinking about all my favorite Drax moments, Drax quotes, like just whatever. And then I think I settled on my favorite one, and I think you'll appreciate this. It's in the first film when Peter calls him a thesaurus.
And what does he say?
He said, don't ever call me a thesaurus again.
It's such a great introduction.
It was so great.
To Drax.
You're like, what?
Yeah, he said he's we're here with the walking thesaurus.
Yes.
And that's also when he says, like, it went over his head. And he's like, nothing goes over my head because I'll catch it. Or something like that. It's good shit.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
Yeah. Thought you'd appreciate that there. And there was a lot to think about, but I think that I settled on that one.
There's some good Drax stuff out there, man. Thank you for that. So, any more final thoughts about the film proper?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think I'm all tapped out. So now I want to ask you. We need to make this a regular thing. I keep forgetting here and there. I'm sorry, guys. We want to make this a regular thing, but I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, like Ren would say.
Who?
Oh my God.
Who'd you say?
Like Ren would say.
Ren
and Stimpy.
Oh.
He would go idiot to Stimpy.
Oh, that.
I don't have a good Ren voice. He kind of has a nasally, throaty voice.
Huh. Okay. Nope.
You know they're gay, Ren and Stimpy.
I mean, how can they not be? Look
Okay.
at them.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I love that they. I love that they're gay.
Did you know SpongeBob and Patrick were gay? I mean, look at them.
That's true too. That's true. They walked so Patrick and SpongeBob could run. So I got a question for you. It's the question you should be expecting.
Yep.
How much did this movie cost to make? What was the budget of this production?
So my guess, and it was hard, I went $270. I think the first movie was 230 something. And so, you know, my natural, like, I'm like, okay, this is a third film. I'm going to go to 250.
Longer.
It's longer. It's a lot more stuff. But then I felt like 250 was too little. You know, I guess we're talking in millions here, but I don't really know how much stuff costs. So I'm like, okay, if 250 is sounding just a little too little, let me just add 20 more. So that's my logic there.
That's not bad logic. Adding 20 million to this kind of movie, not bad logic at all.
270 was my guess.
Because one extra day, is going to be, I don't know.
Holy shit. That's true.
Maybe $300,000, $500,000. Oh no. I mean, one extra day is probably gonna be $1 million.
Holy fuck.
If not $2 million.
But we had so many new characters here that had a kind of important role. And then we had so many animals. I mean, we had so much here. So
Lots of different sets.
Yes.
A lot. I think a lot of practical too. So we had an actual different locations, different stuff built out and everything. It's for sure. So you're locking in your 270.
Yes.
So you should have gone with your gut. It was 250.
250 on the fucking money?
Yeah, 250 on the money.
Damn.
Good job. That's a good guess. You're
Thank
getting
you.
good at this. You're getting good at the top half.
Well, it's
Because I think what you'll notice, I'm a little better with video game budgets, just because I'm a little more familiar with the medium. But it seems like the top half of like highly produced movies sitting between 2 and 3 hours is 200 to 300 million.
okay.
That is the sweet spot. So
Okay,
you're gonna
okay.
have to figure it out. Yeah.
I think it also helped that I knew how much the first one made.
Yeah.
So
The second one was about the same too. About 230 million.
230. Okay. Well, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but I knew one of them was around 230 or something.
Yeah, they're all in the pocket there.
So I was like, okay, this one has just a little bit more. So
This one does.
kind of a lot of bit more. So
Yeah, I would say it does. I don't know how much different CG sets change production because so much of it's computer generated, like it's post, and so like there's not a lot of that's just I feel like there's the same amount of work is going to go in no matter the difference between I mean I don't know. I haven't learned too much about post production
yeah.
than I do about production. So
And then Counter Earth. Come on, that looks like it took some time, took some work. So damn, I should go with my gut.
I wouldn't be surprised if those counter Earth scenes may have been some of the more expensive scenes because they were all real on location and they were moving around big time and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure. So, but this movie went on to make a good bit of money. It's definitely, like I was saying at the top of the episode, it was a relative hit for Disney. Disney's had a lot of misses lately, especially with Indiana Jones and Little Mermaid seemed to hit the black. Seemed to do all right. Didn't make the money like they thought it was gonna make. They thought it was gonna make Aladdin and Lion King numbers, the remakes of those two. And the outrage that happened around that. Remember I told you about the Aladdin main actor, Aladdin, the actor who played Aladdin. He was like,
Yes.
I don't think Little Mermaid's gonna perform as well as Aladdin did, and everybody was like, cancel this motherfucker. He's racist. It's like, all right, I don't know if he's racist or if you should cancel him for speaking his mind, but I thought it was kind of interesting that an actor had something to say about the industry, numbers, right,
Well,
data.
Look at him now.
That's kind of interesting. He was right on the money. Right on the money. He got about half of what Aladdin did. Half. Aladdin made over $1 billion. Just remember that.
Yeah, but go cancel this guy.
But go cancel this guy. This guy sounds like he knows what he's fucking talking about.
Exactly.
And he's young. Get the fuck out of here. So this movie went on to make about 843 million. Very good. Very good. Not Spider-Man or Avengers money, but I think that's the most of the Guardians, if I remembering correctly. So appreciating returns is always appreciated. We often are. It's always kind of a fear to get diminishing returns and things, and that's not uncommon. When that starts, that usually just trends downward. Like fucking the new Insidious film, I think it's the highest grossing Insidious film, which is insane. It makes sense because of what it's about, and like that's kind of like what I think people wanted from after the first Insidious film. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about, but it made some money. Those movies make crazy money relative to how much they cost. But yeah, 843 million. Congratulations.
Yeah, good job.
To everybody.
Good job, Tim Dunn.
Thank you, Batista, specifically.
Thank you, Batista.
Thank you, James Gunn. Jim, good old Jim Gunn. Thank you. I can't wait. You've got a supporter of your DC endeavors. I know you want to connect the movies to the video games, and I know that's not going to work because video games take way too long to make. And so by the time you're done with your phase 2, you'll get that first game you wanted, that first Wonder Woman game you wanted after phase 2 of your whole thing, you know. So good luck connecting those up. Gotta appreciate the ambition, though, of course. Yeah, well, thank you for watching this film with me. Thank you for doing this episode with me. I hope you had a good time.
I had a very emotional ride.
You had an emotional ride watching and doing this episode.
Yes. Oh my God, you should have seen me taking notes on this episode. I was by myself, tearing up, crying, and I'm like, I can't talk about this.
Yeah, I see it here, folks. She's got tear marks on her notebook.
Don't look at it.
I'm just kidding. She writes on an iPad.
Well, thank you for, I guess, to our, listener that recommended these films, because I never would have seen them, and I would have never appreciated this, side of Marvel, especially with how dirty they do them in the Avengers movie. So yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, well, they must suck because that's how they're doing them here. But no, God, no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Guardians. I'm so, so sorry.
It might be a good case study of what a director can bring to a story and characters and stuff. It's maybe a good example of that. Because, I'm all about directors.
Yeah.
Over writers and cinematographers and actors and whatnot. Yeah. I think they are the heart of every film. And they should be the brain, but they're not always the brain. But they are the heart. And I'm impressed. I am thoroughly impressed, and I hope I've demonstrated that through my words here today. I didn't have a lot of negative things to say. I'm not sure if I said anything negative, but I'm happy to gush over something that I just normally wouldn't on any other day, about any other MCU thing. So what do you give it on your letterbox?
I mean, I'm leaning towards giving this a 5.
Holy smokes. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I would watch this again. I would recommend this. And those are 2 big signs right there for me that I value someone else's time enough for you to watch this. So
that is an ultimate recommendation too. That's you don't want to hear my score.
I'm sure you'll give it like, a 0.5. You'll be like, oh, I love it. It's a 0.5.
No, it's not a 0.5. No. No, it's a 3.5.
All right. That's fair for you. It didn't. Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Time to wrap this.
It doesn't speak to me on a existential level. Yeah. So it's, how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. That's the best I can do. I'm just trying to do the best I can do. I'm sorry that I'm a disappointment.
We just value different things.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this episode. Especially you guys in South Korea and Canada. What's up?
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Thank you. Koreans. South Koreans.
Yeah, fuck your North
Canadians.
Korean counterpart.
Yes.
We're not going to invade them or anything, but,
I'm stopping here. Thank you, South Korea and Canada.
All right, you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform, especially Patreon at patreon.com/Filmistines, and follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines signing off.